Kennedy been assassinated in Dallas, Texas, and I am convinced that the high school kids lining up to go see this game were pretty pumped up about it, but I have a feeling that the adults going to the game were a lot concerned more with how the world was going to be as a result of those 6 seconds in Dallas, Texas, really. I went to Notre Dame in South Bend, which really is a great school. This is when I was a sophomore, and the guy on the left is an attorney in Phoenix. If you ever go to Phoenix, let me know and I'll link you up with him. He's a great guy. I named my middle son Blake because of him. He screwed around as much at Notre Dame as I did. How he didn't flunk out and I did is still a mystery that we laugh about today. He even tells me that when I flunked out, his grades went up, so that's how it was at Notre Dame. But we did screw around a lot there, food fights and water fights. We actually found a way to the Golden Dome. We climbed up one morning in April of 1965 and got up into the top of the Golden Dome, and we actually stuck our heads outside the windows up there at the top. And that's a view that no one who ever went to Notre Dame really ever saw. So I go back to this with high school kids.
How can you still look the same after 50 years?
I don't know.
Ugly's ugly.
It's the ears. The ears.
Ugly does it, right?
People focus on the ears. But anyway, this is around the time when we had climbed the Golden Dome. So this is April of 1965, and the next picture is April of '68, and it's 2 years later, towards the end of the siege at Khe Sanh, standing on Hill 861. So that's the change, and you know, we all went. If you go over there, that's what happens. The word you go here or Afghanistan, if you're in combat, you do change. So that's the pictures there. Taylor, can you see, or you're filming this, or what are you doing? I mean,
He's filming you. We'll have
okay.
pictures too.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Boot camp. I don't care about boot camp. Yeah, I was there. I know that. This is in my parents' driveway in July of 1967. My parents were absolutely crushed that I had volunteered for the Marine Corps. I mean, absolutely crushed. My father was so angry at me, he actually stopped talking to me in the months before I went to boot camp. He called me an asshole, and he was relentless about it. But to his credit, when I was in Vietnam, he wrote more letters than my mother even did, and sent me every care package that I got. But he was really angry, one, that I flunked out of the school he graduated from, and two, that I had the gall to sign up for the Marine Corps when I didn't have to. And he was an FBI agent, and he told me in 1967, you can't win the war there, and you signed up for something that you could cost you your life. Anyway, so that was, I left angry parents, went to Vietnam, and when I first got to Vietnam, I was in Da Nang, and then I went up by helicopter to Dong Ha a day later, and they sent me out to Khe Sanh. So I actually went to Khe Sanh in late September, right down here in the corner, late September of '67, and I was only in Khe Sanh for 10 days. My artillery battery was there, and then I was waiting to be attached out to Kilo Company. At the same time, Lieutenant Fordham was on his way over, same way as I probably did. I flew on a Continental jet with American stewardesses. I flew from El Toro in California to Wake Island, refueled, and then flew to Okinawa. And 3 days later, another Continental jet with stewardesses, and we landed in Da Nang. But then I went to Khe Sanh. When I was there, it really didn't mean a lot to me. It honestly didn't. And I'm skipping all this. Helmet, flak jacket, fine. I'm skipping. I liked it there because I got to wear a dirty t-shirt and no one gave me a hard time about it. There was a mess hall at Khe Sanh. So I actually liked it there in the sense I didn't have to be in a uniform and I didn't have to polish my boots, whatever. Sitting out cleaning my rifle, which is an M14, my first week in Vietnam. First week there. And then this is the slide that changes everything. Not that one, that's stupid. I came out of the tent one morning. I'd been in Vietnam for a week, maybe, and the guy said to me, do you see that bump? I said, I can't show this on the screen. I mean, can I move over here? That would be better, because this won't show on the screen. He said, can you see the bump here? Sorry, you have to switch around too. He said, you see that bump? And I said, yeah. He said, that's Hill 861. And I said, get the out of here. He said, no, that's 861. And it was the equivalent, honestly, of someone saying to me, see that building? That's Alamo. See that river? That's a Little Bighorn where Custer got nailed. You see that white beach? That's Omaha Beach. It was that historic. It was so famous, and I thought, holy cow, the Marines had just fought for these hills, or this hill, and the other 3 hills, or the other 2 hills during the spring. So, just like a tourist, if I was your age, I would take out my cell phone and take a picture of it. But I ran into my tent, got my little Kodak Instamatic camera, and I took that picture on about the 29th of September, thinking, it's incredible that I'm so close to this famous hill. I got to take a picture of it. And then I didn't know that on the day after Christmas, I'll be on 861. But that's how it evolved for me. Then I left and I joined Kilo Company in Camp Evans at Fubai. And I was and this is exactly, Lieutenant Forder would have seen this same sign. This is right outside the first sergeant's tent where you check in. And Marines are Marines, but they're no different than other people. You get 100 Marines, you find somebody who can draw. And I'm not saying this is Picasso or Michelangelo, but it's better than I could do. And so some honorary sergeant finds a Marine who can draw, and he makes some stupid-looking picture like that. The guy's got an Ontos on his back, just like we saw in the museum this morning, you know. And I'm a brand new guy here, brand new everything. Everything's new except the boots, a little bit broken in. These are the plywood hooches that we kind of stayed in at Camp Evans in the background. This is comical because I'm the new guy, and I'm an effing new guy. The F word plus N and G means new guy. It's 105 degrees out, it's pouring rain, I'm on guard duty, and I put my rubberized suit on because they gave me a rubberized suit, jacket and pants, and no one tells you don't wear it, but you're new, so you think, well, they gave it to me, so I should put it on, so I put it on, and then you come back after 4 hours out there, and you're totally soaked, but it's not rain, it's just your own perspiration, and you realize what an ass I am to wear a rubberized rain suit when it's 105 degrees. I'm not trying to lose weight. So that's really a new guy, but notice the M16 is changed, you know, it's an M16 now. So that change in the Marine Corps was really during the hill fights in the spring, and then by the fall, when I was there, everybody was getting M16s. I technically, as the FO, did not have to carry an M16. I could carry a 45 like my radio operator, David Crom, but I really wanted the M16. I wanted a rifle. I didn't want to carry a pistol, but by job definition, I wasn't supposed to have a rifle. Just for the uninformed, the helmet's 3, the flak jacket is 7, and for David, the radio, the antenna, the cord, and the handset is 27 pounds, and the battery is 27. So he's adding 37 pounds to his weight before he adds in a pistol, 3 canteens of water, hand grenades, 45 ammunition, gas mask sometimes, all that stuff.
Mortar rounds.
Mortar rounds, absolutely, yeah. It was incredible what we
About
carried.
70, 80 pounds.
Easy, yeah, easy. Stupid picture. I'm going to keep saying that, I guess, repetitively. This is David's, and Barry would remember this. Marine packs. These are the same packs we saw in the museum today. Yeah. This stuff was left over from World War II. The Army already had Alice packs, the frame, outside frame packs. The Marines didn't have that. We had these stupid old packs, and when we went out for a week, you couldn't put all your food inside, so you would put them in these black socks and then drape them over like a pack horse. I mean, how bizarre is that? That's Marine Corps mentality, really. It's
Make
just,
it work.
Yeah, whatever works. So I'm kind of pointing at David's thing. And this is going out into the Kobe Tonton Mountains west of Way, and setting up in the late afternoon. The guy's shaking out a poncho liner here, and this is about 10% of a 2,000-pound bomb crater. And as you can see, it's filled with water, and Barry can tell you, they're very dangerous. And you could fall in those at night with all your gear on. You could die. You could drown. There's no way to pull yourself out of here. You can't climb up out of there. Someone's got to rescue you out of a bomb crater like that. This is the remains of a French Catholic church that had been built probably by the French in the 30s. And this is, we went up into the mountains and we stayed a week. And these are 2 Navy corpsmen, and the guy on the left is Doc Mole, and the guy on the right is Doc Marshall, guys who joined the Navy, not the Marine Corps. And we set up a base camp up in the mountains. But even the corpsmen were carrying hand grenades. I mean, technically they weren't supposed to be carrying hand grenades, but you weren't going to be able to tell them they couldn't. And this was my first experience, honestly, with being shot at, and Lieutenant Fordham was here as well. I was in the inner perimeter, but we got mortared the first time ever for me. My foxhole was right there, and David was right there. Malcolm was already down at his tent when it happened on the day it happened, and 12 rounds are going to hit, and you jump in the hole, and you wait, and the first one hits, and the next one, and about the 5th round hit right there, literally between our 2 foxholes, for the first time for me to be under shell fire. And then afterwards it's over, and you realize how lucky you are to survive, because you know, if it lands in the hole you're in, you die. If it doesn't land in the hole, you live. That's the deal with mortars. If you're above ground level, you're going to get seriously hurt or killed. That's the fin assembly of that same mortar shell. That's what's left over. It's Chinese or Russian, and that's what's left over when the thing blows up. And that's myself and Malcolm, Kilo Company, 3rd Battalion, 1st Sergeant. Might have been 1st Sergeant Goddard, I think. Then we went on convoy duty, and these are the mountains. This is south of Da Nang. Da Nang is back here. These are north of Da Nang, sorry, and the Haiwan Pass, which Barry's been over, is up here. This was actually an Esso little petroleum plant right here. And we were formed up on convoy duty, and when I told David, who had already been in Vietnam 6 months, I said, David, we're going on convoy duty. The guy said, he said, well, you're not going to like that. And I said, why not? And he said, well, because we're going to ride in trucks. And I said, well, yeah, no kidding, we're going to ride in trucks. That's great. And he said, no, it's not. It's terrible. And I said, I don't think so. And he said, well, just wait. And it was terrible. It was 14 days of this, riding in trucks just like this. This is a truck filled with grunts. This is one of our officers right there. And it's not Lieutenant Ford, I mean, it could be Lieutenant Black. This is a machine gun team. I get to stand up in my truck, and this machine gun team gets to stand up in theirs, but it's 105 degrees, sweltering
Dust
heat
is
and humidity,
incredible.
and you're wearing a steel helmet on your head all day. And for the first 2 hours while they're forming up, you just sit there. One guy farts in the truck and everybody knows it. One guy shifts his position, everybody else has to shift their position. It was miserable. It really was a miserable, miserable time. I thought it was going to be cool riding in trucks, but it was not. Myself and David, convoy duty. Couldn't tell you where. But somewhere between Da Nang, Phu Bai, and then up to Dong Han. Then we'd spend the night and then come back the next day. This is the Hai Van Pass outside of Da Nang. Lieutenant Fordham would have driven over all these roads with us, just like we did it for 14 days in October. That's a view from the top, looking up towards Wei. That's a leper colony. It was a leper colony in 1967, and it's still a leper colony even today, right outside of Da Nang. Rice paddies. I'm not trying to give you a tour of Vietnam. I'm not. I want to show you what Lieutenant Fordham and I went through. So that's rice paddies, water buffalo. I'm going, not quick, but, you know, it's fine. Water buffalo. Come on. The only time we stayed at Army bases on convoy duty was the only highlight because you could steal the crap out of those guys. We stole everything that wasn't nailed down from the Army guys. And I do need to go back, and a couple of people here have heard this story. In Da Nang, we were there, second time we'd come down to Da Nang, right out here in this area. And we're over in this area here. And I've been in Vietnam for